We heard earlier from Inspector Lucas that he was told he was given a direction,
Yes.
not 1 inch. So it's pretty clear that the efforts of the PLTs to work with the protesters were being stymied by upper brass of the Ottawa Police Service.
Robert Krajcik here, reporting for Rebel News in Ottawa, Ontario, on day 19 of the Chris Barber and Tamara Lich trial. Both are being charged with a series of crimes linked to their roles as organizers in the 2022 Freedom Convoy, a peaceful demonstration against what I regularly call the COVID-19 enterprise. You all know what it was: an apparatus of control, surveillance, mandates, censorship. The day's proceedings were entirely consumed by dealings with one witness, Isabel Cyr. She's an officer with the Ottawa Police Services, and she worked with the PLTs. Those are police liaison teams that liaised with Freedom Convoy organizers, and that's a permanent set of teams that deal with all sorts of large events, and they're organizers to coordinate security measures and other things to ensure that things remain lawful and peaceful. Now, before we get to that, please visit tamaratrial.com to stay up to date with all of our coverage of this trial.
Come on out November 25th. It's all aboard the Freedom Train in Niagara-on-the-Lake. You can check Rebel News for updates and also the Freedom Passport site.
Tamara Lich, who led the Truckers Convoy, will be sharing the stage with some of the finest international recording artists, like the Chops Horns from New York City, who's played with Alicia Keys, Stevie Wonder, the Rolling Stones, and many more. Plus New World Sun, just off a European tour, and the legendary R&B master, Leroy Emanuel. Get on the Freedom Train with Tamara Lich. Saturday, November 25th at Niagara-on-the-Lake Central Community Center, 680 York Road. Get your tickets today at freedompassport.ca. The Freedom Train is coming. Know your rights, know your freedoms.
The most important revelation from today's proceedings in Isabel Cyr's testimony is that she said she was denied, that's the word she used, denied, her attempts to negotiate with Freedom Convoy organizers to reduce the footprint of the motorists and vehicles involved in the protest. She wanted to lessen the impact of the protest on Ottawa residents, which was the priority of the police liaison team. She specifically said she was denied her attempts to negotiate that lessening of the Freedom Convoy's footprint by her superior, a police officer named Russell Lucas. We saw Russell Lucas in, I think it was the first week of this trial. He was invited as a witness for the prosecution to testify about his role as incident commander. His job with the Freedom Convoy, and previously and even currently, is liaising on behalf of the Ottawa Police Service, local law enforcement, and all sorts of organizers from large demonstrations, large protests, sporting events, even emergencies. And Russell Lucas said when he was testifying in the first week that his discretion as a negotiator was essentially rescinded, and he was unable to fulfill his priority, his job duty, which was again to lessen the impact of the Freedom Convoy on Ottawa by reducing the footprint of the vehicles in order to negotiate, to get organizers to get the vehicles to consolidate their presence on certain streets. Lucas at the time speculated, he didn't know this to a certainty, that that order came from the police chief, who at the time was Peter Slowly. So we don't know how high up the food chain, how high up the chain of command that order originated from. We can speculate, however, that it likely came from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's office, given the fact that Trudeau was out there every day on TV prioritizing the Freedom Convoy and speaking about how he was doing everything he could to work with relevant law enforcement agencies to end it. Is this trial at all capable of identifying where that order came from, how high up the chain of command the issue to not 1 inch be conceded to the convoy?
Well, I think what you heard from this witness, which was of some assistance for sure, is that their efforts to reduce the footprint continued throughout the demonstration. And a number of times, took under specific examples, their efforts to reduce the footprint. These were the PLTs working with the protesters. They were all set to do just that. And every time that she would ask for permission to do that, it was denied by Inspector Lucas. We heard earlier from Inspector Lucas that he was told he was given a direction,
Yes.
not 1 inch. So it's pretty clear that the efforts of the PLTs to work with the protesters were being stymied by upper brass of the Ottawa Police Service. You saw in today's testimony numerous examples of the protesters trying to cooperate with the PLTs, reducing the footprint, providing them with information, but the police with information to be helpful. And despite those efforts, they were unable. I mean, they even got to the point, as we know, on February the 14th, where 102 vehicles were actually moved, pursuant to the agreement that had been reached with Tamara Lich and the mayor. So it's clear that the truckers, the protesters, were directed as to where to go in town, where to park, where to stage, including on Wellington. And they went and did just that. And after that, within a matter of a day or two, efforts were being made to reduce the footprint. And by reduce the footprint, we know that means lessening the impact on the residents of Ottawa. And those efforts were genuine on the part of the protesters, and they were also genuine, I believe, on the part of the PLTs that were in the streets. But they were being stopped.
Dear Rebel News audience, if you value and appreciate our in-the-field reporting that you cannot get anywhere else, please contribute and help us offset our operational costs. We need your assistance. Visit tamaratrial.com to donate and stay up to date with our ongoing reports.